Bombshell. CB's post is causing fear. Future of the $9 million WR uncertain? Seahawks news. Seahawks Nation is in shock after a cryptic post from a key cornerback sent ripples across social media. Fans are speculating that the future of a $9 million wide receiver on the roster could be in jeopardy. Is it a trade hint? Contract dispute? Or just off-season tension spilling online? 12s are panicking and debating what this could mean for Seattle's offensive plans next season. If this turns into a real shakeup, the Hawks could be facing major roster decisions that change their strategy entirely. Tension and speculation are at an all-time high. Today we've got some real buzz coming out of Seattle that's got fans talking, debating, and honestly feeling a little uneasy about what's ahead. It started with a simple post on social media from one of the Hawks' top cornerbacks, and in a matter of hours the narrative wildly shifted from off-season celebration into serious questions about the future of the Seahawks roster. You know how it is, one post can set off a wildfire online, especially when that player is entering free agency or is about to be a crucial piece in the team's next championship bid. This offseason feels like a pivotal turning point for Seattle football, and today we're breaking it all down point by point, from the cryptic message that caused a stir to what it could mean for the career of that $9 million wide receiver, who is supposedly at the center of some tense negotiations. So let's paint the full picture. Imagine you're a Seahawks fan waking up one morning and seeing a cornerback, someone who's been a fixture in the secondary, someone who's been key to that Super Bowl run, drop a post that feels almost like a farewell. That's exactly what happened recently when Seahawks cornerback Rick Woolen shared a cryptic message on his social media that many interpreted as suggesting his time in Seattle might be coming to an end. The message wasn't dramatic in text, but the imagery he chose, a clip from a classic TV show about leaving home for good, sparked a huge reaction among the fanbase and media alike. Fans picked up on the fact that Woolen is entering free agency and that the Seahawks haven't yet reached a new agreement with him, so the timing of the post only added fuel to the fire. Commentators pointed out that a post like this, especially in an off-season loaded with speculation, could signal that he's preparing for a new chapter away from the franchise. While nothing is confirmed yet, the vibes were enough to make fans uneasy, and that uneasiness quickly spread across platforms. But the drama didn't stop there. As that social media reaction was building, another storyline was unfolding under the hood of the Seahawks roster strategy, contract negotiations, and roster moves involving the offense, most notably that wide receiver you keep hearing about in the rumor mill. This is the player who's been linked to a contract figure in the ballpark of $9 million per year, a wideout who was key in the team's explosive offense last season. Fans have been wondering whether the Seahawks are actually willing to lock him into a long-term deal, or if they're going to play hardball and see what happens in free agency. That's where things get complicated, and why the fear part of the headline really started to take shape. The reality is, when a team comes off a Super Bowl win, expectations are always high, but the front office has to make tough financial decisions in the offseason. There's only so much salary cap space to go around, and when you have multiple key players needing extensions or big new deals, tough choices have to be made. That brings us to another major piece of Seattle's offseason conversation, the franchise tag situation involving Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker III. Reports out of NFL circles say the Seahawks are unlikely to place a franchise tag on Walker, even after his historic performance in the championship game. Instead of using that tag, which would have guaranteed Walker a big one-year salary and protected him from free agency, the team appears focused on other roster priorities like negotiating a long-term extension for their star wide receiver, the one at the center of that 9M talk. This decision has fans polarized, because Walker's game was electric and many feel he deserves to be retained at almost any cost. Meanwhile, the team's seeming hesitation to franchise tag him suggests they have to balance his contract against the bigger picture of building a sustained contender for years to come. It's the kind of juggling act that can stress out even the most loyal supporters. As if that weren't enough, there's also chatter about other moves. Reports indicate the Seahawks have been busy signing players to future contracts, adding depth to the roster and locking down young talent, while they figure out the next steps for their biggest stars. This sort of groundwork is common after a big season, especially a championship one, where you want to keep talented contributors within the organization and maintain continuity. But when you mix in veteran free agents potentially hitting the open market, and a culture that's used to winning, suddenly every decision feels magnified and every post on social media feels like a hint towards something bigger. So let's take a closer look at why fans reacted so strongly to that cornerback's post, and why there's so much talk about fear or concern. It's not just the words or the GIF itself that did it, it's the context. His contract is expiring and the team hasn't publicly shown a strong commitment to re-sign him yet. That's led many observers to believe that both sides might be heading toward a split, intentionally or otherwise. Some pundits are even speculating that the Seahawks might use their salary cap space to address other needs first, potentially letting veteran defensive pieces walk in order to retain offensive weapons or invest in draft capital. When you see posts like his that are open to interpretation, it doesn't take long for fans to start imagining a scenario where a key defensive leader leaves town. That kind of speculation spreads fast, and before you know it, the narrative shifts from next season optimism to are we about to lose our core? And then there's the wide receiver whose future feels uncertain. This player in line for a significant payday hasn't publicly complained, but sources suggest that negotiations have been slow and that the Seahawks may be weighing whether to extend his contract now or push it down the road. The reasoning might be financial, strategic, or simply a matter of timing, but it's created an environment where fans are unsure whether he'll be in Seattle next year or testing free agency like so many others. That kind of uncertainty at a key offensive position can really get people worked up, especially after such a successful season. The idea that you might not be able to keep your top playmakers is enough to make any fan nervous. From the coaching staff to front office, it feels like every move this offseason is being scrutinized under a microscope. The Seahawks have to make smart decisions about how they allocate their cap space, who they bring back, and the vision they have for the next campaign. They know they have a target on their back as defending champions, and rivals will be ready to pounce if the Hawks look weak or disjointed. So the pressure is real not just for the players, but for the entire organization. The harsh reality of the NFL offseason is this: every team deals with uncertainty in some form. Players get frustrated when contracts drag out. Fans interpret social media posts as clues about loyalty or intent. Rumors spread faster than facts, and before long you have an entire narrative built around one single moment online. But even with all this speculation and fearmongering, it's important to remember that nothing is final until contracts are officially signed and roster decisions are announced by the team. What is clear is that Seattle's front office has big decisions ahead. They've got to balance retaining key contributors like that $9 million receiver against potentially letting others test the open market. They're trying to re-sign or replace players across the roster, all while managing cap space, draft picks, and the inevitable expectations that come with being the reigning Super Bowl champions. That's never an easy task, and it's exactly why fans are watching every Instagram post, every cryptic tweet, and every rumor with bated breath. So if you're wondering what this all means going into the 2026 season, here's a simple takeaway. The Seahawks are in a period of transition. They're dealing with the highs of a championship and the lows of negotiating contracts in a tight cap world. Social media reactions and fan fear only highlight how passionate this fanbase is. Nobody wants to see the pieces that brought that Super Bowl victory leave town. But at the end of the day, decisions will be made that the front office believes are in the best interest of sustained success. Stay tuned, because as free agency heats up and official signings begin to roll in, we'll start to get a much clearer picture of who will be wearing Hawks green next season and who might be playing elsewhere.